Good morning, Ramapoughs. How are y'all doing? So many of you know me. I am the mother of two clouds. My name is Mumtahana. Um, this past Sunday, 4 days ago, I rounded up several warrior friends of mine, and we drove up to the land, the prayer camp there, Sweetwater, and we confronted my son's murderer. I had hoped there would have been a lot more Ramapough there, but there were not. Everybody who came there for the gathering seemed to have been like allies. But nonetheless, I passed out what I had, which was a sort of affirmation of who murdered my son. It also named a woman who I won't name here, nor am I going to name him here. I will leave that privately for Ramapough. I'm not going to say it publicly. So if you did not receive what I brought up there and passed out, you can contact me if you would like to see it and read it yourself. You can contact me wherever you're seeing this, and I'll send you over snapshots of it. But yeah, I want you all to know that I came up there. We confronted my son's murderer. We have the entire thing recorded, so it's proof. We're about truth here. We're about proof. We are about documentation. I don't ask anyone to simply believe what I say because I say it. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. And there are just so many rumors that have been swirling around, and oddly enough, are still swirling around nearly 5 months later, pertaining to my son and my son's murder. A lot of people, I've come to realize, are stuck on whatever idea they have committed to in their own minds without any evidence, without anything to back it up. And when I bring actual facts and information, or, say this is what the autopsy itself says or whatever, people don't want to believe it because, I don't know, people are arrogant, man. I don't know. But anyway, what I brought was to share with you why I accused this person. And many of you have accused him from day one, but I didn't. I wanted to make sure. And it was pretty easy to make sure because he don't know how to shut up. So we went up there and did that. And I just want to say to you, first and foremost, is that from what I see, from what I've heard, been told, a lot of you are scared of this guy. Let me tell you something. He is a coward. Coward. Do you hear me? As I said, we recorded the entire thing. He was literally shaking as if it was 15 below out there. He was holding a cup of coffee, which I assume was hot. You couldn't tell. His hand was visibly shaking. And any of them white allies, as people like to call them, as she likes to call them, that were there, I'm sure they would vouch for what I'm saying. Because they saw it go down from Jump Street. I encouraged you to stop being afraid of him because he is a coward. I understand, or from what I've seen over the past 6 years, Ramapough, y'all just like anybody else, same issues other people have, other races of people and such, who have been oppressed and who have been colonized, no different. But we all have different cultures, and you all definitely have a different culture, what I've learned from talking to my son about it, and just especially what I've learned firsthand over the past nearly 5 months. I don't know, maybe y'all not used to the type of person that he is, that like rah rah, just like talk really loud and yell and stuff like that. Y'all don't seem to like that type of thing. Fortunately, I'm 5th generation Norkite, so that type of thing don't do nothing for me. I see it all the time, And it's ridiculous when people do all that yelling and ranting and raving. Is because they don't really, how my daddy used to say, they couldn't bust their way out of a wet paper bag. Or he used to say too, like, you couldn't bust a grape. That's this cat, I'm telling you. He's a straight punk. But yeah, and I said it to his face. He don't scare me. But I also told him straight to his face that he is a murderer. And I'm telling you, we have on tape. And again, you can ask the white folks who were there. Some people, just like they listen to white folks better than anybody else, they will vouch for it. I accused him more than once of being a murderer, and he never, ever denied it. Never denied it. What he did was, you know, how he likes to go, like, dance around the subject, start talking about something else or whatever. What he did was, you know, oh, me? Who said that? Or, you know, they got proof? Do they have any proof? But do they have proof? And I can't believe, like, who would say something like that? He never, ever, ever denied it. So, which is crazy because even in his fear and even in his, you know, I would guess wanting to protect himself, it never dawned on him to lie. That's his consciousness, in my opinion. So that's the first thing. The other thing I need y'all to realize is that I'm not Ramapough. I ain't got no dog in y'all's race. Whatever it is y'all want to do in honoring your ancestors and preserving your future for your children, I don't have a thing to do with that. What I do have to do with is the fact that my son was murdered for this whole situation that you all know is now happening within your tribe. My son was murdered in a coup. I believe that wholeheartedly. What y'all know is happening right now politically, my son never, ever, ever would have allowed it. Never would he have allowed it. He would have gone down kicking and screaming and fighting. You know this. And if anybody has the audacity to tell you that they are keeping his agenda going or in any way bringing him into the mix in order to get your support or anything like that, they are liars. My son never, ever would have supported this idiot who he was trying to get away from, but he was tracking my son on his phone. He would never, ever have supported him. He, in fact, didn't want to be chief. People have been talking to my son about being chief almost since he came up there. Very soon after, the words started buzzing like he should be the one to be chief. My son had never wanted to be chief because first and foremost, he understood that in order to be a good leader, you really have to give too much of yourself. He wasn't willing to do that. He was just like, let somebody else do it. I don't want to do it. And also, he told me that he could get more done not being chief. Because, you know, a good leader, he's not just going to go against the people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, it's going to try to have a democratic society and such. Just things you have to do. You got to go through the council and all this kind of stuff. And even with him not being chief, people were fighting him left and right on what, you know, things that he wanted to do that were actually best for the people, for the tribe. So yeah, he never wanted that. And he was raised again traditionally. Just as anything else, any other spirituality or religion has different facets that have had other things mixed all in and messed it all up. I raised my son to be a traditionalist within the Islamic faith. And so that's why he was just so, you know, serious about this is what the Constitution says. That's what it is. This is why he was so serious about reading, you know, antique, you know, and documents and stuff like that. because that's just how he was raised. That's how we raised him. It's what he was familiar with, and he understood that if you're going to do things traditionally, you have to know what was said back then, right? So yeah, and in saying all that, he wouldn't have been with any of this. The only thing, again, I will restate, I don't want anything out of this. All I want from you all is the respect and honor that my son is due. Because truth be told, he only came up there because of me. I'm the one, when, I was raising him and stuff, I taught him as much as I could about his people, his Ramapough family, his grandmother and his grandmother's sister in particular, did not want him to come up there. They warned him more than once that if you go up there, they're going to kill you. And they didn't say white people. They said they are going to kill you. That's a fact. His grandmother wouldn't give him the information for a very, very, very long time. And I'm the one who for years kept pushing him to, get to know who your people are. And so he started going up there to learn the language, the Muncie language and everything, to the classes with Miss Sasha. And then Chief took him out on the land, what became the Sweetwater Prayer Camp. And he told him that they were trying to take the land from them, and that he had nobody who would stand with him, nobody from the tribe who would stand with him and fight with him. And so my son decided that he would do so. And I want to remind you all that y'all didn't have any land. Y'all only had that 14 acres of land, from what I know from my son. That's the only land that y'all had, and that was gifted to you by Mr. Chuck Elms. And it was slowly falling out of your grasps, or I should say quickly being pulled from your grasps, until Two Clouds came on the scene and decided, nope, setting up shop right here, and I'm not going anywhere at all. And I will remind you all that in the beginning, y'all didn't support him. You did not support him. Y'all like yelling at him, calling him all kind of names, telling him to go back down there. I forget what y'all used to call it, the lowlands or something like that. Telling him to get out of here. He's causing trouble for y'all. As he started getting more recognition, y'all were calling him Hollywood Indian and all this kind of thing. Now, to say that a lot of you took a liking to him over time, and what at least you believe is love for him, and I put it that way because, in my opinion, the way I love anyway, my love language is, if someone I love is in trouble and needs my help, I'm stepping up and I'm coming through, regardless to what. I'm not getting that from the vast majority of you, but, create a will, and that would change in time. Hopefully you will gain the courage to do so. I don't think that most of you are not doing so out of, being malicious or anything like that. I think for the most part, a lot of you are just afraid. So, I want you to remember that all the land that y'all have gotten back was because of Marie, Two Clouds. Now, it's not that he did anything spectacular per se. What he had was courage, and he had intelligence. So, because a lot of the documents and stuff were right there at the tribal office in the file cabinets. Just no one went looking or something, I guess. Nobody. Or if they saw them, maybe they didn't think they could win a case. I don't know. But Two Clouds, again, had courage. He had the intellect and, charisma and all that sort of thing that he was able to go forth with it and fight it in court, and, go to the UN and universities and, schools and organizations, and sit with heads of state, African governments, all types of things, all types of people, I should say. He was able to sit with them. He never ever felt like he was lesser than or that he didn't fit in. So it was just easy to talk to them. And because he had that confidence and that way about him, they took to him. And a lot of people began to feel empathy for the Ramapough Lenape. And a few people even gave land up, you know what I'm saying? And will probably continue to, creator willing. But the thing is, what are you going to do about that? I really, if you don't know this already, I want to tell you, Ramapough people, you are a strong, beautiful people. You are. Yeah, you have flaws, you have your faults, and you have problem with unity, and that's everybody, again, who has been oppressed and colonized. But there are not a great deal of you necessarily. But I want you to realize, and I really hope you will put this to your children, start to, if you're not already, start to put this to your children, that you all are valuable and you are powerful. I'm not saying that in a little cliche way. Just look around you. You're so small, right? How many people keep trying to bring you down and take your land and take control of you and things? Why do you think that is? It's coming from so many directions. Why do you think that is? It's because you're powerful and they want to harness what you have. I'm not talking about in some ancient way, like, yeah, our ancestors were. Number one, you are your ancestors. And it's up to you, in my opinion. I know I'm talking from my own perspective, but this is how I see you. And this is how Two Clouds saw you. Two Clouds' mission was to do things for the youth. There were so many things he had planned for the youth, and that beyond clouds is my intention to push forward as much as you will allow me to. But I say all that to say, look at what is happening now. My son was murdered for this. I told homeboy, I'm coming with the feds, and he should know that I'm coming with the feds. I'm not saying his name publicly again, nor the other girl who implicated herself, by the way. It's not something that I just pulled out the sky. It's from her. And all that stuff that I have in the papers, if you ask me, if you want me to send them to you, it's only the first 5 days after Two was found. I have plenty more information and about other people also. Just because people start to slip over time. But I really wish that you all would stand up for Two. Because he deserves it. That's all I want. Whatever y'all do, if you change your situation that's going on now or not, I have nothing to do with that. But I really need y'all to stand up for Two. And stand up for his son. If you see that dude with my grandson, with Two Clouds' son, I'm asking you to make it your business to remove him from him, okay? Two would not want that dude touching his son. He wouldn't. He murdered Two Clouds, and there's no way he did it by himself. We all know that he couldn't take Two Clouds at all. He couldn't. Two comes from a family who is, I guess you would say, prolific in forms of fighting, martial arts, boxing, MMA, all of that. And so that's how we raised him. My father was a sensei, double black belt in Kung Fu. My mother was a black belt in Kung Fu. His father was a martial artist. Black Muslim community that's very prevalent in our community down where we're from. He was very prolific in his fighting. He was prolific, a hunter, so nobody was just gonna like roll up on him, especially, if he was on the land or whatever, which I don't know if he was or not at that point. I know he was on his way to go and see Lalo. So, and so also where he was located, where Two's body was located, no one person could have done that. Two Clouds was 191 pounds, and we're talking about being incapacitated he was going to be even heavier and harder to move just as one person. And this dude, he ain't that big. So he had to have help. He had to have had help. But I know for a fact it was him because, again, he talks a lot. And once you look at those papers, again, if you want them, you will see just the first 5 days. If he's telling people that we talk or that I've been asking him questions, or he's been lying a lot, saying a lot of things that have been coming back to me. They're all untrue. I cussed him out 2 days after 2 Clouds' funeral and hadn't spoken to him directly since. But yeah. Do what's right, y'all. Do what's right. Love demands to be proven. You can't just say that you love someone and that you respect someone. We don't need, arbitrary photos backed with music and all this. I love him and I miss him, but you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. The FBI is not taking calls from people right now, so I have to take any information where it needs to go. I have to take it firsthand myself. So if you have any information, please hit me up. My phone number is 223-488-9439. You can text me, you can call me, you can DM me, you can inbox me, whatever you need to do. Peace.